Hi everybody. So for this text, we're going to be looking at Don Quixote. It is an SAT text, and this is going to be my complete analysis of the text and the questions. So the first paragraph of this literature style text, which is fiction, is the hashtag that Don Quixote and his squire come upon large windmills, but DQ, which I'm going to use to stand for Don Quixote, he thinks they are giants and wants to fight them, but Squire declares they are only windmills. This is a key point for you to understand the context of this text, and it's important to note that the first sentence is declaring the reality of the situation, because as we'll see, it gets right into Don Quixote thinking that the windmills are giants, and if you don't grab a hold of the fact that there is a disparity between the two, you're not going to understand the entire text at all. So you've got to establish that right off the bat. Paragraph 2, the main idea hashtag is that Don Quixote argues with the squire about his lack of bravery, and Don Quixote prepares to fight. Paragraph 3, hashtag Don Quixote fights, and when he stabs with his sword or his lance the moving windmill blade, he and his horse are thrown violently to the ground, and the squire rushes to them. Paragraph number 4, the squire tells him again they are only windmills, but Don Quixote validates his actions due to Friston. And this is a key point also of text features, because this new name put together near the end of the text has a footnote of 3 asterisks by it, and that footnote is talking about that Friston is an imaginary character and that he is an enchanter or affects windmills. So that is giving the reasoning behind why Don Quixote thought that the windmills were giants in the first place. So now that we have a base understanding of the entire text, we now move on to the questions. You'll see my visual here that I picked shows the upright and ready to fight Don Quixote with his lance, and the squire as his helper. See, he's just depicted as smaller and more hunched over. That's kind of a good way to capture the meaning of the text. So for question number 1, which choice best summarizes the passage? It's D. And this is a key ideas and details question, but in a more global sense, because D really brings all of this together, showing that what's this text about? It is a knight with an altered perception of reality engages in what he believes to be a battle of good versus evil. Question number 2. The main purpose of the opening sentence of the passage is to A, as I said earlier, inform the reader of the true setting of the story for later plot purposes. If you do not understand this point, then you are lost in the text, you're not comprehending it, meaning you're not getting the meaning out of it, and you're going to be struggling all the way through this one. So question number 2 is an absolutely fundamentally key question. Number 3, during the course of the first 6 paragraphs, the main character's focus shifts from now The SAT says D, an evaluation of an enemy before him to an argument with his faithful companion. However, I struggle with it because I see evidence of B, a reflection of the role of money in warfare to the role of God in battle, only because those elements of money, meaning which he used as fortune, and then it switches to this battle between good and evil, that I really see a lot of text evidence for B. So that's one that we're just going to have to say, call it for what it is. Question 4. The phrase, sweep so evil a breed from off the face of the earth, at the end of the second paragraph, mainly has which of the following effects? C. It indicates the grandiose view that Don Quixote has of the battle he is about to undertake. This is a writer's view choice. The key word in all of this is grandiose. Grandiose means over the top, very fantasy, imaginary, ordinary. It's like over the top, and that's what that quote is. It's to sweep an evil so bad that you've got to just get rid of it from the face of the earth. That's kind of an over-the-top kind of thing to say. Number 5. The passage indicates that Don Quixote would characterize his charge into battle as D, brave. In lines 32 and 33, it indicates that a single knight attacks you. Understanding the context of the passage, he realizes as soon as he sees these, quote, giants, that he knows that he's got to fight them because he thinks they're evil. So that's why it indicates bravery as the best choice for this question. Number 6. The passage indicates that Sancho views Don Quixote as B, a superior who needs looking after. Why? In line 3, we see that Sancho is a squire, which is a rank below a knight. Now, you can know that as background knowledge of medieval history. However, you can pick up from the context of the story that Don Quixote is the leader of the two of them anyway. But in lines 25 through 30, 2 times it mentions the cries of Sancho, saying, you know what, you can't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing this, it's not necessary. So B is the choice that makes the most sense for this question. Number 7, which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to this previous question? It is C, lines 25 through 28. I'm not going to display that full quote for you because, if anything, you should stop the video and go back and look at those lines for yourself to see that that is the right choice. Number 8. The passage indicates that Don Quixote does not believe Sancho's description of the, quote, giants because of B. Don Quixote claims Sancho is not as brave as he is when it comes to battle. In line 22, he says, if you are afraid. So with that, coupled with understanding the whole context of the relationship and the dialogue that happens between Don Quixote and Sancho, you see that the answer is B. Number 9, and which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question? C. It is contained within lines 21 through 24. In question number 10, at the end of the passage, the reference to Friston mainly has the effect of A, giving the reader greater insight into how Don Quixote perceives reality. In fact, this is so fundamental to the storyline. What it does is if you were wondering all along why in the world is Don Quixote mistaking windmills for giants and making such a big deal out of it, it's explained in lines 60 through 62. So I think it's an excellent question to end this passage on, because it's so fundamental to understanding that Don Quixote is not completely nuts, is that he actually has a rationale for it, in the world of this fictional literature text. So that is the end of the questions. I really hope this is of value to you to understand not only the text, but also the questions. So, appreciate your time. Have a good one, everybody.